All right, so here is, we're still solving by elimination. And now we are on level 2. Okay, and so I'm going to keep the steps from level 1, but I'm going to add step 1. Multiply one equation to create, what am I creating? Opposite coefficients. What does this mean? Okay, opposite. Opposite is like 5 and -5 are opposites, or -3 and 3 are opposites. Oops, sorry. Those are opposites. Okay, now what's a coefficient? A coefficient is like if I have a 4x, the 4 is a coefficient. Or if I have a -3y, this -3 is the coefficient. It's the number that's being multiplied by the variable. Okay, so why do I want to create opposite coefficients? Well, notice these equations that I gave you in level 1, see how this was a 7x and this was a -7x? And voila, they canceled. See how this was a -1 and this was a +1? And they disappeared, they canceled, they eliminated, right? So what I had in level 1 that I'm not going to have in level 2 is I had coefficients that were already opposites. So when I added the equations, they eliminated. Now sometimes you're given systems that are not so friendly, and they won't just eliminate like that. You have to manipulate them around a little bit. So for example, here, if I were to just add these equations together, I would get 8x plus 3y equals 24. And there would be nothing I could do with that because it would still be an equation that has 2 variables in it. And I don't have a way to solve that. I need an equation that has 1 variable, right? My whole goal when I eliminate is to get an equation that just has 1 variable that I can solve. So notice here, if I added these together, nothing would eliminate. So watch what I do. I'm going to observe. I'm going to observe closely. I notice there's a 2 here on the y, right? I can observe either variable. In this case, I notice there's a 1y right here, which is really convenient because 1 can be multiplied to get anything, right? I can multiply 1 times 5 and get 5. I can multiply 1 times 11 and get 11. Okay, so I'm looking at this 2y, and here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking, if this here was a -2y, then these would eliminate. And I'm thinking to myself, I wish this was a -2y, because then when I added these together, the two y's would eliminate and I would have only x left over. So rather than just wishing this was a -2y, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this whole equation, I'm going to put it in parentheses, and I'm going to multiply this whole equation by -2. Why? Because -2 times 1 is -2. So I am going to make this number, this coefficient, a -2 because that's the opposite of 2 and I want it to eliminate. So I'm going to multiply. Now I'm going to rewrite it over here. And this is just distributing. Now when I multiply an equation, I have to multiply all the pieces. 1, 2, 3, I'm multiplying. -2 times 5 is -10. That's -10x. -2 times 1 is -2. That's -2y. -2 times 15 is -30. Okay, now I'm just going to recopy this equation. Why? Because look, there's my -2. It's what I was wishing for. And here's my +2 that it's going to eliminate with. So watch, I'm lining up my terms. And now I'm ready to add the equations. Okay, so when I add -2 plus 2, oh, that's 0. Those are going to eliminate. -10 plus 3, that's 10 negatives, 3 positives. The 3 positives cancel out 3 of the negatives, but I'm left with 7 negatives. -30 plus 9 is -21. Okay, now this is a one-step equation. I have -7 times x, so I'm dividing by -7 because it's being multiplied by x. Negative divided by negative is positive. 21 divided by 7 is 3. My x value is 3. Now, here I have my x value, and I'm doing the same thing that I was doing before, which is I'm plugging it back in. It doesn't matter which equation I plug into. Okay, it doesn't matter. So let's say I plug into this first equation. 5x, my x is 3, plus y equals 15, right? 5x plus y equals 15. 5x plus y equals 15. So I multiply this, and I get y equals 0. So I'm thinking my solution is 3 and 0. My x value is 3, my y value is 0. Let's just double check it really quick in the other equation. Right, this is 3 times 3. So right, 3x plus 2y equals 9. So this is 2 times 0, so this becomes 9 equals 9. Perfect. Okay, and that's my answer. Let's try another one. 3x plus 2y equals negative 13. 3x plus 4y equals 1. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So here you might think like, but look, I should just add these together. They'll eliminate. No, they won't. 3 plus 3 is 6, right? 3 plus 3 is 6. What I need is 3 plus negative 3 if I want them to eliminate, right? So here, and notice here I actually have two choices, right? So one option is I could say, oh, you know what? This is a 3. Oh, if this was a negative 3, they would eliminate, right? I could think that way. Or I could look in this and say, you know what? Look, 2 times 2 is 4, right? Here's a 4. If this right here was a negative 4, they would eliminate. So watch, I'm going to show you your two options. Don't write anything for just a sec. So I could do this, right? I could, parentheses, I could say, I'm going to multiply this top equation by negative 2. And that would make this a negative 4, and the y's would eliminate. I could do it that way. Another option is I could multiply either of these equations. I could do this one or this one and multiply it by negative 1. And then if I multiply this by negative 1, I'd have a negative 3 and a positive 3. Or I could multiply this one by negative 1, and I would have a negative 3 down here and a positive 3. So here we have a lot of options. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. I'm going to multiply this top by negative 1. Okay, now remember, it was just as correct. I could have chosen to multiply the bottom by negative 1. I could have chosen, right, because that would have made this positive 3 and this negative 3. I could have also chosen to multiply the top by negative 2. Okay, but let's just do this. You just got to choose one. So if I'm multiplying by negative 1, right, I'm multiplying. Negative 3x minus 2y equals positive 13, right? Negative times negative is positive. And I'm lining up my terms. Okay, notice here I just copied. I didn't multiply the bottom one. Negative and positive, 3, they cancel. Negative 2 plus 4, that's 4 minus 2. 13 plus 1 is 14. And y equals 7. Okay, let's plug back in. Find my x value. I'm going to just plug into this bottom equation. 3x plus 4, y equals 1. I'm now getting x by itself. Oops, there we go. Here's my answer. Okay, let me just double check it in that top equation, right? This is 3x plus 2y equals negative 13. So this is negative 27 plus 14 equals, yep, this is negative 13 equals negative 13. Oh, sorry there, looks good. Okay, you're going to do the next 3 problems on the next page, page 125.